you ever get it confused, cause we the ones who sold it to the dude that sold it to you. First album out the trunk, I started making some bills. And in 6 short years, I sold 15 mil. A fool in College Park, went to school in College Park, bought a crib in College Park, and still live in College Park. You can't tell me nothing, so what you say. I wasn't born, but I'ma die in Atlanta, GA. Hey!
All right, boys, let's go. Episode 218. It's obviously a Glansburg effort this weekend. Meat is AFK, but should be back next week. It's UFC ATL, and it's kind of a low-key scrapper of a meat down. So if you're here for this week's locks, head straight to the comments. You'll see the timestamps that you need. But nonetheless, I want to quickly recap last week. It was UFC 316, a relatively successful weekend for both of us. Meat went 4-2. Your boy went 5-1, yet the only L we took was a robbery of a MEATLOCK L, where we thought Sergey Spivak, the polar bear, did exactly what we said he would do: get enough takedowns, control rounds, win time, and ultimately emerge with a decision. But nonetheless, he did just that, yet emerged with an L. Waldo Cortez preserves his 5-fight win streak. His hype remains intact, and we know in the UFC, they're trying to sell stories, right? They're trying to sell matchups, specifically in the heavyweight division, which is dormant these days. They got to preserve something, and Waldo Cortez has the win streak alive, and maybe now you can continue throwing him in these marquee fights, maybe even a main event opportunity. See what he truly has, because Sergey Spivak, we know what he has, right? We know what his ceiling is. He's a super talented heavyweight, obviously a top 7 guy, but when up there against the best of the best, the Tom Aspinalls, the Cyril Gans, the Jailton Almeidas, he comes up short. So you got to imagine in a fight that is competitive, the judges are going to lean with the guy that preserves the UFC's hype, and obviously that requires a little bit of conspiratorial thinking, putting your tinfoil hat on, but we see the tea leaves often, and Sergey Spivak isn't marketable, doesn't speak English. You got to imagine that Waldo Cortez is a little bit more interesting of a prospect. So nonetheless, rant over. Sergey Spivak takes the L. We do as well. The new balance is 36-36. The record is still 61% though, so the MEATLOCK is cashed at a high clip, but nonetheless, we think we have the MEATLOCK to get back on track this week for UFC ATL. It's the first breakdown, and it's a MEATLOCK dog. You see the text. Andre Petroski is plus 150 in this one, taking on Edmund Shabazian at minus 180. And we just are seeing this fight as another example of Edmund Shabazian being both overrated and overvalued. I mean, this is a guy who was always supposed to be the second coming in the UFC, yet has alternated wins and losses, has never really seized on all the hype that he once had. And while yes, he has some wins, right? He took out Dylan Bumka, took out AJ Dobson most recently, Dalcha not champion. I mean, these are pretty bad UFC fighters, and his losses are to guys that all have a very consistent skill set. Fluffy Hernandez, Imavov, Derek Brunson, the Joker, and even GM3. All those guys have grappling heavy attacks, and Andre Petroski is a guy who has a grappling heavy attack, right? We know him as Body Bags' main training partner. He's out there working with Ruzi Boev. He's out there working with Basil Hafaz every single day. And when Edmund Shabazian just has never demonstrated enough grappling growth, you got to imagine Petroski as a dog can do to him exactly what those other guys did to him. And Andre Petroski is riding a nice fight win streak. He just took out a peak Rodolfo Vieira. And if you look at Edmund Shabazian's wins, I mean, they're likely Brad Tavares with a YOLO finish is probably his best finish. Meat and I were actually there live, and it was amazing, but it was a long time ago, and it was kind of a YOLO. And he hasn't gotten any nice wins since then. So Petroski's win yesterday over Vieira eclipses everything Edmund's done throughout his career, and we like him as a MEATLOCK dog in this one. So we think Petroski is going to find a way to get this one done. At plus 150, we'll be keeping it simple, throwing down 100, get the MEATLOCK back on track, and our 120th overall. And let us know in the comments. I mean, are we hating on Edmund Shabazian? Are we hyping up Petroski too much? I mean, if Meat was here, Meat loves Andre Petroski, right? This is his boy, and I'm not the, always the biggest Petroski backer, but in this fight, it seems like he is kind of a lock against Edmund Shabazian, because if you look at the card, the MEATLOCK is always the fight on the card that we think has the greatest lock potential, and we aren't afraid to seize, we aren't afraid to leash a MEATLOCK dog if we need to. And we're doing just that with Andre Petroski in this one. So let us know if we're tripping. We're throwing down 100 to net 150. Easy light work, but swapping us through, it's Charles Jourdain and this one taking on Ricky Somain. And Charles Jourdain is a plus 140 dog. Ricky Somain is minus 166. And Meat UC is picking Ricky Somain. He just thinks the grappling will be too much for Charles Jourdain to handle, and he honestly thinks that he might even KO Charles or pick up one of those TKOs that he's been getting or has gotten historically throughout his career, because we know Ricky is a guy who's trying to get those takedowns, but most recently he's got a beautiful finish against an undefeated Basharat on the feet, so clearly he's improved in that arena as well. But either way, his bread and butter is that wrestling, right? This guy is dominant when he gets there, and the only thing that could keep this fight interesting, according to Meat, is if Charles Jourdain is able to stop those takedowns, because if he is, then perhaps on the feet this fight could get interesting. But honestly, I think that even Ricky will have some advantages there as well. I'm with Meat. I'm going to be picking Ricky Somain in this one. I like his improvements. I liked all the hype he had prior to his L streak. And if you remember, this is the only dude who has a win over Merab. And obviously it was the controversial last second submission where Merab was out, but he wasn't, but he was. It was quite confusing, but either way, it's a beautiful win for Ricky Somain. And now that he's back on track, his confidence is restored. I think that could be a scary prospect for guys in this division. So I'm going Ricky Somain. Meat is as well. We simply think that the mouse bit the cheese.
The mouse bit the cheese.
Thanks, Tito, and let us know in the comments if you agree. But either way, I'm moving things on. It's Michael Chiesa taking on Court McGee, and this one's fun, right? Two OGs, two legends, you could say, and you see Meat's pick. He's taking Michael Chiesa. He thinks basically this is just a younger bum dog, right? He's 37 to 41. Chiesa has been fighting older OGs. Court McGee been fighting older OGs. There's that sort of echelon of the 37 to 42-year-old fighters in the UFC in every division that just get to ruffle and tumble in there sometimes, and usually the younger guy wins. So the younger bum dog is key for Meat, and he simply thinks that Chiesa, coming out of retirement with something to prove, will get that done over the crusher Court McGee, and I'm kind of seeing it the same way. I mean, Court McGee is one of my favorite fighters. Love the dude, has a tremendous story, and even picked up a beautiful win most recently against Tim Means, but Tim Means is 40 plus as well, and I just have seen too many L's acquired from Court McGee in the last few years to warrant picking him against a 3-year younger fighter in Michael Chiesa, who at minus 380, obviously I don't think there's much there. I think if you're going to pinpoint a prop, maybe you look at Chiesa by TKO, because you'll be getting the best numbers there. Maybe he can get a takedown, pin one of the crusher's arms, and start to tee off. But besides that, I think minus 380, there's probably no life there. And don't count the crusher out. I mean, this is a very tough OG fighter who, I mean, even back in the day, this guy beat Robert Whittaker. So obviously that was 2013, but the crusher always comes to fight, and Chiesa does as well. So it should be a fun one. We're both going to be going Chiesa. I'll go by TKO, and Chiesa for Meat is just the pick over there. But let us know in the comments if we're sleeping on the crusher or if it's just a can getting crushed. But nonetheless, this one is interesting. It's Paul Craig. Rodolfo Bellato is his opponent, and this is a fight that was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago. I'm just going to run back the tape from our breakdown then, because not much has changed besides the slightly revised odds you'll see in the bottom left corner. Plus 295 is Paul Craig. Minus 375 now is Bellato. So when you hear the minus 500 numbers from last week's recap, just take a look at that bottom left-hand screen. That's what you actually want. But before we head over there, all I want you to consider is that this is Rodolfo Bellato. His name is Traitor. When you put together Bellato and Traitor, you get Bellator. It's Paul Craig, the Bear Jew, back against the wall Bear Jew, lost 3 straight fights, and this week said he knows he's fighting for his job. It's the last fight on his deal, and he's got to find a way to get this one done over Rodolfo Bellato. Some call him Rodolfo Bellaco, but I don't over here. I don't know if he's worthy of a minus 500 tag in this one, Meepo. I mean, Traitor has been looking good, right? He's obviously demonstrated a lot of hype, similar to how Vitor Pre-Limo at one point did as well, but I haven't seen enough to justify him as a 5-1 favorite against a back-against-the-wall Bear Jew, who is a dude with some of the nicest wins in UFC history. I mean, he beat Magomed Ankalaev. He has a lot of phenomenal wins if you just start to scroll up and down his resume. So in this one, is there any life for the Bear Jew? Again, back-against-the-wall Bear Jew, or is Rodolfo Bellaco that good, and he's sending Paul Craig to go box Jake Paul?
I think Bear Jew's definitely gonna be boxing Jake Paul after this fight. I think Bellato is going to absolutely decimate him and knock him out first round.
If you're that bullish on Bellato, why? And you think he's that good of a striker? I mean, he's kind of known for the suffocating chokes that he has, but you think he's going to go out there and perhaps put the lights out of Berju? And if so, what gives you so much confidence? I mean, obviously the guy does have finishes, right? Ihor Potieria got finished in the second round, but if you remember that fight, Potieria was kind of fake winning in the first round and just gassed out, and ultimately Trey Tor landed some YOLO. So what do you make of that? And what have you seen that thinks he's going to knock out of the Berju?
Like he drew with Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute's pretty bad, but so is the Berju. Berju's pretty bad, and I would say Jimmy Crute might have a better chin than Paul Craig. I just think Paul Craig is going to get knocked out, and if it hits the mat, he's either going to sub this guy or get knocked out also. So it's kind of, I mean, look at Berju's losses. He's got the most in KO. So if my money's on it, it's either submission Berju wins or Bellato Rodolfo is going to win by KO. I gotta go with a Bellotto on this one.
Yeah, I buy that, Meatball. I see that it's either KO for Blanco or a YOLO sub for the Berju. And ultimately, I'm just going to go on the other side, and I'm going to take Berju to find a way to get this one done. I'm not sold on Prelimo. I'm not sold on Bellato. And I think that the Berju might find a way to get this one done. But if he goes out there and gets finished in 60 seconds, then perhaps I will become a Trey Tor believer. But until then, I am unconvinced. So I got Paul Craig as a super YOLO plus 380 dog. You're taking Blanco by early finish?
Yeah, early finish easily.
Again, let us know your thoughts. That's just what we're thinking. Mead has Bellator. Your boy's taking the Berju as a YOLO, but I'm going to keep it moving. It's another fun one. Light heavyweight showdown. Alonzo Menafield, Atomic Alonzo, is taking on Umar. Don't call him Sadubu C. And this one's fun, and you see Meat's pick. Plus 410 is the Atomic Alonzo dog. Minus 550 is Umar C, but Meat likes the Atomic dog. He thinks he's going to go out there and not only dominate, not only beat Umar C, but is going to KO him or maybe get a TKO, because we haven't yet seen Umar C get tested in all areas of mixed martial arts. And we know that Alonzo Menafield is a guy who is very well rounded. And while, yes, the youth won't be on his side, he is 37. He has lost recent fights. This is a dude who's been in there with literally everyone, right? And he has some good wins to boot. I mean, he's coming up a recent win over Julius Walker. Who knows how much stock we can put into that one, but nice wins over a prime Dustin Jacoby. Took out Jimmy the Brute Crute. Misha Serkinov when he was good. I mean, these are pretty good wins for Menafield, and his only losses are two top guys, Azamat Murlakanov and the Blackjack. So Umar C is another guy who I reel about all the time. There's this category of light heavyweight fighters that the odds makers love to ride, essentially. And usually they're contender series guys, right? Whether it's Rodolfo Bellato just recently, whether it's Vitor Prelimo, who loses every fight yet is always the favorite, whether it's Bruno Lopez, who we just saw last week get absolutely smoked. There's this cadre of fighters, the guys who come in as fat favorites and get smoked because they haven't yet been tested against real UFC opposition. And while yes, Umar C has been looking dominant, he has 2 wins in the UFC against Tuko Tokos and Da Un Jung, who is a mid fighter. So in this one, Meat says that it's just a one-time deal for Alonzo. Like, it's not like he thinks that because he beat Julius Walker that suddenly he's a future champ, but he's just not quite fully off the train. And honestly, Meat, I think, provides a compelling take, and coupled with how I love to fade the light heavyweight hype beasts, I think Umar C at minus 550 is in that category. So I'm taking the Atomic Dog with Meat. Let us know if Umar C truly is deserving of this hype, if he truly is going to go out there and absolutely dominate Atomic Alonzo. But Alonzo's going to get some takedowns, and maybe if he doesn't get a finish, he's going to really wear on the gas tank of Umar C, who is used to going out there and getting finishes. So I think Atomic Alonzo cashes as a beautiful plus 410 dog, but let us know in the comments if we're tripping, if we're missing Umar C, and he truly is the next level hype beast, but I'm not buying it. Cody No Love is the next fight, taking on Ione Barcelos, and Meat kept it very terse, very simple with this one. He simply said, Cody is coming back. And this one is interesting because Ione Barcelos was a sizable dog in his last fight, right? Everyone has sort of written off Ione Barcelos. He's a 4-1 underdog against the Black Hole, Talbology, but Talbology got absolutely smoked. Barcelos was able to essentially ragdoll him, and this is a fight where Cody No Love on the feet should have the advantage. I mean, Cody No Love still has that speed. It's whether he has the chin that can survive against the top guys at this division. But Barcelos is going to be going out there, you got to imagine, trying to implement a similar style to how he did against Talbology. But we'll see if Cody No Love maybe rediscovers that grappling sauce, because we've always heard about Cody No Love's grappling game. We don't see it, however, too often. He kind of fits in the Justin Gaethje, the Kelvin Gastelum category, where we know it's a foundation, we know it's there, yet we rarely see it. So if he is able to thwart those takedowns to Meat's points, then he will be coming back. But I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth in this one. I was thinking that maybe Cody can go out there and starch Barcelos, and there's some questions I wish I could pick off of Meat's head, but in this one, I'm going to go with Barcelos. I think he finds a way to win at least 2 rounds, and I don't see either guy getting finished in this fight, and as long as that's the case, I can see Barcelos having just enough success on the feet and maybe getting a takedown in perhaps 60 to 90 seconds of control time per round to where he ekes at least 2 of them on the judges' score sets. But nonetheless, I think that Cody has plenty of life in this one. I think the odds are fair. I'm obviously rooting for Cody No Love because he cuts classic promos on the mic, but I'm going to take Barcelos officially. Meat is taking Cody No Love. Let us know in the comments who you are rolling with in this one. But this one's good. It's the co-meet. It's Thug Rose and Namajunas is a -258 favorite, taking on Miranda Fear the Maverick. And Fear the Maverick is a +210 dog, coming in off a nice recent streak. She's been looking great, picking up a lot of wins. However, it's a co-meet opportunity against arguably the best to ever do it. And while Rose definitely was knocked down a peg when she lost to Manon Fiorot, it was nice to see her rifle off 2 beautiful rebound wins, show that she can be competitive and still her best self at this 125 division. And she got taken down another peg, however, when she fought Erin Blanchfield cold-blooded. But that's the one I really want to focus on because it was a fight where Rose was having a lot of success early, dominating cold-blooded Blanchfield, but something happened about halfway through, and Erin was able to eke out round 3 and then really dominate rounds 4 and 5. So it was a bummer to see Rose go out like that, but she did have a lot of early success. So while the result was a loss, she looked great early. And I think the thing to focus on for this co-meet event is this is a 3-round fight, right? So as long as Rose can do exactly what she just did to Cold Blooded, go out, win round 1, win round 2, if she can't get a finish, then Rose should emerge in this one with a decision. And I don't see any world where Miranda Maverick goes out there and finishes Thug Rose. And in so doing, I think that decision for Thug Rose is ultimately going to be the pick. I think that's the play because I don't see a world where Miranda is able to dominate Thug Rose early. I think that she'll be able to stuff takedowns, Rose will, and when she does, we'll be able to just stifle Miranda, maybe even stiffen her on the feet, but probably not. And I like that this is 3 rounds and not 5 because there's less chance for some sort of distracting collapse, you can say. So let's go Thug Rose in this one. I'm ultimately going to go by decision, but let us know in the comments if you think Thug Rose picks up a finish or if you're riding Fear the Maverick and you think that she gets this one done over Thug Rose. But nonetheless, it's the meat event. It's the last one to boot. And again, if you made it this far, appreciate your growing and chilling. I know it's just a Glansburg effort again this weekend, but we're doing our best here at Meat Boy MMA, trying to keep the locks alive. But it's Kamaru Snoozman taking on Joaquin Buckley, and this one I'm very excited for because earlier today a face-off dropped from these two, and Buckley was really trying to sort of intimidate Usman, but Usman had the look, he had the face of a guy who knows something perhaps that his opponent does not, and afterwards Buckley even kind of broke character and demonstrated some real excitement. He's like, wow, I'm fighting Usman, right? So combination of factors, you wonder how that can materialize, but you obviously see Meat's pick. He's taking Kamaru Usman. He's never been one to pick Buckley, and even though Buckley has been winning a lot of fights and is obviously getting better and better in each one, Meat is still unconvinced, at least as to whether he's a championship prospect, you could say. It's not like he thinks Joaquin Buckley's a bad fighter, but is he better than Kamaru Usman? He says it's not even close, and he characterized this one simply as a bully beatdown, and he thinks that a second-round ground and pound, maybe even a Masvidal-like sleeper, could be in the works for Kamaru Usman as a +210 dog, and he also made a point of emphasis that Buckley's been slept before, right? So it's not like it'd be the first time, and Buckley, though, is -258 favorite, right? The odds makers clearly think this is a younger fighter against an aging veteran. It's a dude on the way up versus a guy on the way out, and for me, I'm going kind of back and forth in this one because I do like Buckley. I've been picking him a lot recently, and he's been coming through, but this is a meat event opportunity, a 5-round fight against a guy in Usman who is obviously a legend in the game and only loses to the best of the best. So in this one, I'm back and forth. I want to pick Usman. I can't, though. Ultimately, I'm going to go Buckley. I think Buckley gets this one done, probably by decision. I think that he finds a way to not get stiffened. That is Buckley, and I see him winning enough rounds, most likely rounds 2, 3, and 5. So I'm taking Buckley to emerge with a decision. I think you might be getting plus 300-ish odds there because the juice will likely be on the Buckley KO. But Usman's as tough as they come. And if Usman comes in here and simply ragdolls Buckley, tosses him around, really implements that top-level wrestling that we know he has, it could be a long day for Buckley. I just think he's gotten a lot better in that arena, and ultimately Buckley's able to dictate how this fight unfolds. So I'll go Buckley by decision, but Meat is providing that counter perspective. He thinks it's not even be close. A bully beatdown, easy light work win for Usman. So let us know in the comments. You taking Snooze Bro, the OG, or are you riding the Buckley hype train all the way to its conclusion? But nonetheless, that's it, Meat Boys. Appreciate you guys grilling and chilling again. Meat should be back next week for the next episode, and it's a scrapper of a meat down next week as well. So let us know in the comments if you like any of our picks. Are you fading all of them? Toss us a like, toss us a dislike. We don't care. Just give us something. But that's it.